Arry and Bert, the Sodor Ironworks diesels, sauntered into the yard. The fat controller was waiting for them. "It seems," he began, "that my railway is in a bit of a snag at present, and from what I've heard, the smelters have been having their own difficulties as well." He paused impressively. "So I've spoken to your superiors, and we've arranged a contract that permits joint ownership. Do you understand what I mean?" The diesels eyed each other suspiciously.
"Yeah,"
said Arry.
"Kill two birds with one stone. We get the picture. So we're working for you?"
"Partially," the fat controller continued. "With the present workload, I need as much help as I can get. And despite your reputations for foul play, I understand you are very efficient. With that said, I'm willing to forget a few of your disturbances if you behave yourselves. Don't disappoint me. Welcome to the fleet."
"Doesn't necessarily strike my fancy,"
Bert began.
"to be shunting for all these steam pots." "Well, it isn't much different from our routine,"
said Arry.
"Picture it this way. We broaden our horizons a bit, and then we show these steam engines our wonderful hospitality."
The diesels laughed and set to work at once. The ironworks is close to Vickerstown, and Arry and Bert were sent to work in a shunting yard nearby. They'd spend their mornings bustling about in the ironworks, and most afternoons shunting for the other engines. The diesels enjoyed the exercise, and found the new assignment a pleasant undertaking. Unfortunately, they took an even greater delight in mischief. Henry was waiting for Bert to marshal his goods train. He was humming quietly to himself, when Bert rushed forward and pushed the freight cars much too quickly. Henry was furious.
"What are you, blind?"
shouted Henry.
"Watch out!"
"Sure thing, sweetheart,"
chuckled Bert, and he scuttled away.
The foul play continued, and the steam engines were dismayed. They knew they needed the help, though, but they did not appreciate the excessive hospitality that Arry and Bert provided. The diesels were very pleased with their instrument, and Bert talked endlessly.
"I tell you, Arry, we run this yard. Those steam engines can't lay a buffer on us."
Arry gave an inaudible agreement. He was exhausted, not only from a hard day's work, but from Bert's constant revelations.
"I wake up every morning, and I ask myself, feeling lucky, Bert? And you know what I say, Arry?"
Arry was gradually getting annoyed.
"Gosh, Bert, I can't fathom what it could possibly be." "Well, yeah. The answer is yeah. I'm feeling lucky." "You know what, Bert?" "What?" "That's the stupidest thing I have ever heard."
After that, the two brothers went crossly to sleep without a word. Weeks had passed, and the fat controller was very pleased with the diesel's prowess. So pleased, in fact, that he ordered the construction of a new transfer table to help his shunting engines. "This will make your work much easier," he said. "You'll be able to switch lines much faster, and you'll be very efficient." Arry and Bert were pleased. They couldn't wait until the new transfer table was ready. When it was, Arry and his driver spoke to the foreman about the special regulations for the transfer table. Arry was quick to give it a try, and Bert observed from a distance, rather impressed. Later that afternoon, Bert decided to give it a try. He was rolling down the line so that he could push some freight cars into another siding. He had no idea that Derek was idling in the shed, and the transfer rails were changing position. When his driver realized the path had changed, it was too late. Bert had jammed the transfer table. The table operator, thinking he could prevent the accident, tried to switch the table to prevent the crash, but he was not quick enough, and the astounding force swept Bert under the wheels and knocked him on his side. The yard was in a massive upheaval over who was to blame. Derek was stranded in the shed, and the workmen crowded around angrily. Arry sauntered over, rather amused.
Hey Bert,
He chuckled.
feeling lucky?
For the first time in several weeks, Bert found himself at a loss for words.